The year 2014 radically changed Ukraine. Military operations in the eastern part of the country have shown the incredible courage of Ukrainian people. Every day, the modern history of Ukraine remembers the names of heroes who stand guard over peace and sovereignty of their country, the history of revival, formation, and achievements of the armed forces of Ukraine and Ukrainian law enforcement agencies in the special project Ukraine in Uniform.
Flying faster than the speed of sound, seeing Earth from a great altitude and the blackness of space above, feeling the speed and dynamics of the flight, it's something available only to them, the protectors of the sky. Who are they and how have they become they are? See next in our program. A loud hum and the sight of the plane taking off is something one cannot simply turn away from. Mere seconds pass as it accelerates on the runway and takes off. One more moment and it's already up in the skies. Some find this wonder unreachable, while for others this becomes another reason to fulfill their dream, to become a pilot and take a plane into the skies on their own. First of all, I wanted to protect my country and of course to fly in the sky. I combined these two dreams, so now I'm a military pilot. Flying 4,000–5,000 meters high among the clouds and looking down at everything below me from up high is fascinating and exhilarating. Choosing this profession, one should get in touch with reality at once and imagining a future of romantic flights in the blue skies. To become a real ace and be able to perform aerial maneuvers, one should study for years and have hundreds of hours of flight experience. But first comes the selection process for studying in schools where future pilots are trained. Not everyone can be one with the sky. Not everyone can fly an aircraft. Methods and ways of entering flight school are different. What I'm saying is that to select 30 students for the first year of studying, we examine, test and review about 600 applicants. This ensures that they all meet the health, psychological and human quality criteria, which allow for training a pilot or a specialist of a related field in general. This specialty requires such a selection process. Each year, thousands of applicants push their luck to enter the Ivan Kozhedub National Air Force University of Kharkiv. The numbers speak for themselves. Today our university is strong. We train specialists both for military and civil in 6 subject areas, making in total over 25 specializations. Training military specialists is undoubtedly a priority. The learning process is conducted at 6 faculties, including the Military College of Non-Commissioned Personnel. Besides, we set up a learning process at the 38th separate learning center, which is also subordinate to the university and the 203rd Training Brigade. However, not all dreams are meant to come true. To get in the ranks of military aviation, an applicant must have strong health, high intelligence and possess strong leadership qualities. First of all, a future pilot must be educated in such sciences as mathematics and physics, that is, the main sciences on which all the academic disciplines are based and thanks to which a plane can fly. Specifically, these are the fields of aerodynamics and hydrodynamics. Besides, such a discipline as navigation is also based on mathematics. Without it, no pilot, no navigator, as well as no helicopter pilot, and even more so, no combat control center officer would be able to carry out their duties. Applicants are selected based on their psychological and physiological qualities. This entails analyzing their ability to master this profession. Only after that do the instructors, psychologists, doctors, teachers and commanders reveal the qualities of the future pilot, his psychophysiological peculiarities which determine his future path in the field of aviation. The approach to preparation of flight specialists has changed dramatically. Our flight faculty is the first on the list. It's absolutely the strongest when it comes to performing tasks, because this is the history of our state and the history of aviation not only in our Kharkiv region, but in the entire country. I would like to remind once again that since 1930 the Chehuyev Flight School exists, which is the basic educational institution for the modern university university. The flight faculty prepares flight professionals, helicopter flight professionals, navigators, combat control center officers and specialists in morale building and special training in military departments.
Це бойове управління і виховна робота для спеціальної підготовки і ведення її в льотних підрозділах.
В процессе обучения летчики.
In the process of studying, pilots practice in such areas of flight training as navigation, elementary and advanced flying, and combat against ground and air targets. In a word, in order to fly, one has to learn theory first, that is tactics and strategy. The desire to fly a fighter jet is not enough. One has to go through multiple stages of learning.
Первоначальная подготовка.
The primary training is conducted in Vis-3 light planes during the first 2 years. In the third year, on the L-39. It is a light training plane manufactured in the Czech Republic. It is a novelty here, and we have used it for the past 2 years. Fifth-year students conduct practice flights in MiG-29 and Su-25 fighter jets. Helicopter pilots train on the Mi-2 helicopter during the first year and Mi-8 in the fourth year. And starting from 2017, fifth-year students are going to practice flights in Mi-28 helicopters in combat departments.
Ми-8 и опять же с этого года будут выполнять полеты на Ми-24, это на 5-м курсе в боевых частях.
About 30% of the students leave the university before their full tuition is exhausted. Those are the ones who either fail to complete the flight exercises or who don't pass a yearly medical examination. And those who continue to learn how to be a pilot are looking forward to their first flight on their own. They say the first time in the plane is a memory for a lifetime. During the first flights, when you fly with an instructor pilot, he explains everything to you, but it happens you don't understand some of the things he says. These memories, when you analyze, are at first frightening. Emotionally, I was very nervous on my first flight, but at the same time I had felt some responsibility, because flying a fighter jet for the first time is very important. Pure skill of a pilot is not enough for him to fly. The flight is managed by many people. For example, the Aviation Engineer Service is responsible for aircraft maintenance. This particular job requires great responsibility, carefulness and concentration. Mistakes are just unacceptable because they might lead to serious consequences, in the worst-case scenario, the death of people. The main task of the Aviation Engineer Service is to provide for safe use of aircraft and its readiness to complete combat tasks at any moment, be it day or night, under any weather conditions. Specialists of the Aviation Service prepare the aircraft for flight conduct, maintenance and repair any possible malfunctions. These specialists have to conduct numerous calculations, so mathematics skills and logical thinking are of great importance. Therefore, the students have to learn and process a vast amount of information in their heads. The faculty also trains air technical supply specialists who ensure the preparation of an aircraft for flight. To be more specific, they fuel up the planes and prepare the aircraft for takeoff and landing. During training of future engineers, we take into account the experience of repair of an aircraft within a limited time period and its maintenance, which is gained during combat in the ATO zone. Hostilities in Donbass have brought some changes in the learning process at all Ukrainian military higher education institutions. Everything that had happened in the community for the last 3 years, including the hostilities in the east of the country, has undoubtedly reflected upon life of our university and the learning process. For the last 3 years, we have completely changed our academic program and have introduced new specialties. During training of our specialists, the experience gained during the ATO hostilities and modern combat experience is the basis. Practice time has significantly increased. Now it accounts for 70% of the overall learning time. Many teachers of the university have been to the ATO zone. The experience they have gained during participation in the war is actively studied by the students in classes at the university. In eastern Ukraine, specialists providing the communication in Ukrainian Air Force are especially required. Communications at war are a very important issue today. Therefore, we are training specialists who are proficient in the modern methods of the setup of state-of-the-art communication systems which use the latest weaponry. Our institution is oriented on training such specialists to provide those who will be proficient in modern means of communication, who will be able to counter the electronic countermeasures equipment and complete their tasks in any conditions, especially in a state of war. Much has changed in the Kharkiv Military University over the last 3 years, but the most important thing is that the students are given a lot of flight time, which is crucial for a future pilot. 2016 graduates are the first master's course graduate pilots who have had over 200 hours of flight time in tactical aviation. They have completely mastered flight techniques, navigation and combat in training and combat planes. They will arrive to military units as fully trained pilots and will refine their skills based on the experience of the world. Military aviators are the elite of the army. They have to know all the peculiarities and specifications of all military aircraft that can be used by armies of the world. Immaculate mastery in handling of an aircraft is not only an important factor that has an impact on the success of a combat operation, but also the factor on which the pilot's safety and civilian lives directly depend. Handling this type of transport implies multiple movements with not only hands but feet as well, the right one, the left one, differentially. At high speeds, attention management is quite different too, even in the same aircraft. The primary task of a pilot is to protect the airspace over Ukraine and to complete combat tasks. The servicemen featured in this program all have one common trait: to protect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. It's these people who take up arms and risk their lives to defend Europe's eastern border from any major attack in the future.